Here we are. So go ahead and get your, and one of the things I want to point out to you guys with this particular composition, hold on, is that there's a lot of sky here. You don't have to have so much sky here, if you, or, you know, background, I should say. And you're going to have some color choices coming up when it comes to the background. But let's focus on the drawing. Hold on. I had it and then I lost it. There you go. Here you. There's this sort of special spot where if I get it just right, there we go. Hi, Lana. Welcome. All right. So we are not going to grid, but I am going to give you some ideas about how to draw. Hi, Lana. This is a watercolor painting of apples. One of the things to notice is that this apple in front is right much bigger than this apple in the back. This apple slice is basically the same height as the apple in the back. So as we start to sketch things out, my suggestion is that we kind of identify, oh, here, let me move this. We identify the top and the bottom of our front apple. What does it look like if I just go from here to here? Let's see.
And is this 8.5 by 11 again?
I have it as 8 by 10.
8 by 10. Okay. Because I'm going to mark off an area then like we did last week.
Yeah, just mark off an area. I'm going to have more apple and less background. So that's kind of nice about this particular thing. So the main thing we're doing is we're establishing this distance kind of randomly. I mean randomly, I mean, we don't have to be precise about it. We can just establish the top and the bottom, but then we're going to use this to establish the distances for everything else. So that's why it's important to do this first. So the first thing I notice, is if I compare this apple to this apple is about that size. Right, that height. So I can come up here and it starts, so I can take this, I can come here and I can define a similar distance. And I can come over here and come up a little bit and mark my top and my bottom. 1, 2, maybe it's a little bit higher. 1, 2, yeah, there we go. Right, so that's the first thing I'm gonna do. My eraser. Also notice that if I find the halfway point of this apple, about here, right? That it's a little bit more, the halfway point should be kind of this far above the top of the apple. So if I come here, looks to me like I have to move my apple up. Because if you can see here, my halfway point is about here on my back apple. Right, here's the halfway point. And really my halfway point should be kind of up here. So I'm going to move this. You guys catch what I did there? Let's see if that still works. 1, 2, yep. So I just marked my halfway point between here and here. Therefore, I kind of have my distances established. So when I start to sketch my apple, and I'm going to be really insistent here, I want you to pay attention to the shape of this apple. None of this round bullshit. No round bullshit, right? Like, yeah, Christina's like, yeah, no round bullshit. This is not a round object. This is more like a kind of square object, right? Please don't make this into a rounded object. Look at the actual shapes. It's more like a that. I know we all get into our, oh, and then the other thing I want to check is what's the height, the width of my apple is at the widest point, the width of my apple is the same as the height of my apple. So I can also kind of give myself, if I find the halfway, and the width is about the halfway point. If I can find the halfway point here, and I get the width of my apple.
Reason.
Yep. So the width of my apple, this is not round. This is, oh wait, gotta go all the way up. Try. Probably guess that I actually start on the side here, come up, over, square. I mean, later we kind of gently round stuff. It's important to see that really apples have kind of a flat bottom. Right, that's more the shape of the apple. I might round it out a little bit here. Maybe a little bit more there. My other apple, where it's kind of comes back up like this, so it kind of goes out, up. This one's super flat on the top. Later, we add those curves in. We can add them back in, but they are very subtle. And also, this apple is also as wide as it is tall at the widest point. So before we get any further, I'd like to see your sketch. And then of course, the height of this is about, let's put this, we can put this line in here. So this is kind of where the apple goes in, right? And I can see that the height of this from here to here is basically this height. The height from here to here. Here to there. It's pretty much the same as from here to here. So then I can get my, I hope I left room for my apple. I'd have to move my apple over a little I think I just have room for it. Might be this. So don't do what I just did. See how far I scooted over and I didn't leave room for my apple slice on this side. Don't do what I do. Or what is it?
Do what I say, not what I do.
Right. And then this line becomes a little bit easier because it is kind of attached. Right. I think I can just manage. We'll see. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to take this off. Oh, bad Leah. Don't do what I do, kids. Don't do it. Here, I'm gonna give myself a little bit. Because I have a lot on my mind today, and I was just thinking about. Yes, you can see when one has a lot on their mind, it becomes harder. There we go. So let's get to there. Don't make the mistake that I did. I'll take a picture. And here, by the way, is the picture. Boy, you could totally see, I was paying attention, I could have totally seen that I was straying too far. Oops, there you go. So getting these shapes and sizes right is important. Oh, good, I got that.
You really had to give us a foreshortened one at the end, right?
How is it made? How about this, Christina? Everything is foreshortening in it.
Okay.
No, it has foreshortening in it. Everything has foreshortening. You cannot escape it.
I hate foreshortening.
You know, I used to hate it. Now I love it. Once you learn how to judge the shapes, you're like, oh my God, I can make my paintings look so good, and it's not that big a deal. You know, once you kind of learn how the rules work, and you will, the more time you spend in this, you'll be like, this is awesome. It's like knowing a magic trick.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
You learn the rules. You learn the rules. After, let's see, Paul. Okay, 1, 2. I'm just looking at your. Hold on. 1. Looks good size-wise, Paul. Looks good. Now get your guy in there. That looks great. Just look at the shapes. It makes it so much easier when you're just focusing on these shapes that we've got outlined. And then once you've gone in there, once you've got that, then we can go in and add like this shape, right? This shape. So mostly what we see here is the top of the, I actually take this picture. So I couldn't find exactly what I wanted. Lisa, have you ever taken my beginning drawing of the lily course?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, you have. There's
Yeah.
another
I
one.
think I've taken it twice, but I like it.
Excellent. There's another one. For those of you who have not, you should jump onto this classroom on Friday at 3 o'clock your time, West Coast time. I've got a beginning drawing lesson, which I think is going to fill in a lot of information. It's going to give you some of the theory behind what it is that we do here. Why drawing is the way it is. Why I'm like, don't get into all that business of round, right? Don't make the apple round. It really helps, I think, to understand some of that through this drawing lesson. So Paul, if you've never had it, you should take it. Christina, I know you've not had it because you're fairly new. You should take it. Lana, I don't know if you've taken it, but it's a really great beginning drawing lesson. And it's going to be this Friday at 3 o'clock East Coast time. So if you guys can possibly take it, you should. It will help you kind of understand what's happening with the right brain. That's its design anyway. You're going to see here that once I get these pieces in, I'm really just sketching out the light, the medium, and the dark areas. And let's see here.
Yeah, I like the lily. I think it's the first thing I ever really drew
Really?
in one of your classes.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. It's helpful, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
it kind of explains the whole thing. It explains the theory. I like to call it my theory with practice class. So you'll make a drawing that you can't believe you'll make. So if you can do it, please join. It'll be a great time. And Lisa, I'll send you out an email later about the Reuters festivities.
Okay.
I guess it'll be fun.
Can you look at my apples?
Yeah. Okay, so this, yes, the 2 apples are great. I'm looking at the height. This base is a little bit, look at this triangle.
Okay.
Slide it
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
It comes out more. Good job, Lisa. Otherwise, it looks pretty good.
Thank you.
Yeah. Excellent work.
All right. I ate an apple right before class. Do you think that's helping me?
I think so. Adjusted it, definitely. Where is that? Okay, let's see, Christina. Okay, Christina, we need to talk. So number 1, this apple, if you remember, you're not measuring very carefully. This apple is the same size as that apple. Your back apple is virtually the same height as your front apple. Yep. Well, yep.
I thought it was considerably smaller.
Well, that's what you need to start getting in your head. What you think is small is not small. Measure it. Look at it.
I did. I took a ruler to it.
Here, measure the height. Here, hold on. I'm going to look at it again. Maybe I've got it wrong. Okay, bring it down. You have it up to here. You have your apple. So let me show you what happens when I put my apple up to here. See? This is where, so your apple is this big.
Okay.
All right, so you need to bring it down a little bit.
Okay.
Then this is absolutely in the wrong place. You pushed it all the way back up. This sliced, so erase the slice and start over. This slice,
Okay.
look,
I can see.
this, right? Like this slice lines up. This is what you need to learn, right? This is where you need to learn, right? Look at this relationship. This corner lines up with the bottom here.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's going to help you. And then look at the shape of this triangle and how it relates to here. So this is what happens. After a while, you think things are one place, you think they're big, you make them smaller. It is, by the way, Christina, really easy to make things too big or small. And you look at them, you think you've got it, and then you knock it off by a couple centimeters or millimeters, and that's a lot in drawing space. So That's part of it, but it's really also very important to consider these relationships. These negative space relationships are as important, right? This shape, this shape are as important as these shapes. Okay.
I love the negative space.
Yeah, it helps with a lot. It really helps you. So once you start thinking like that, then it becomes less difficult. That's when these things become, I don't know, just less harder.
Yeah, I see what I did. Okay.
And what happens is you get kind of so obsessed, and notice you started to get stressed out when you started to talk about this slice. And the moment you get stressed out about it, you stop looking at it. Right? So now observe that about oneself. It's not just you, everybody does it. The moment you start thinking, it's like you become blind. It's like you put a blindfold on and you can't see. Right?
Mhm.
Really happening. So use what I find is the negative space helps me place things.
Okay.
Right?
You mean black and white?
No, come on. I've said negative space about 2,000 times. What's the negative space, Lisa?
Well, it's the space in between the objects, and in this case, like the black space in between the apples, right? That are not
Yes.
that are not the object.
Is the space that is not the object, because that's as important in drawing. Paul, commit that to memory. I never
You know that, Paul.
You
You
know,
know that.
you know it. I was going to say, I've said it like probably 200 times to you, not just you, to everybody. That's what negative space is. It's the space between the objects, and it's as important as the objects. Mine's a little skinny. Fatten up my apple a little bit. Don't be jealous of my eraser. It's freaking great. Y'all are gonna want one.
Is that the one that somebody showed a couple weeks ago in our class?
Yeah, yeah. Jessica gave it to me. It was very thoughtful of her. It's so lovely. Is Rollo back in town?
No, next week. He'll be back. Yeah,
Have you talked to him at all?
I have not. No, I mean, not for a couple, not since,
Not since he left.
yeah, I talked like right after his father died, which was a couple weeks now. But God, we miss him at work. We need him back.
All right, he's so cheerful and excited and adorable. Yep,
Yeah.
do that. Very happy.
I know. I hope he's feeling a little
Happy-go-lucky guy, yeah.
chipper when he gets back.
Yeah, hopefully he'll be happy to see us. Everybody ready?
So,
Hi, guys.
Hi.
hi.
I'm
It's-
just popping in to say hi.
Okay, are you gonna paint it all, or are you literally just coming in to say hi?
I haven't decided yet. Maybe.
She's getting into, so you know what you're doing, which I think is really great. Oops, hold on, I dropped it. Here we go. Bottle, totally.
You were saying?
Just a second, hold on, sorry. Just wanted to make sure there wasn't ink everywhere. I was saying that there is one of my favorite self-help books is by Scott Adams, the guy who wrote Gilbert. And in this book, he talks about how you get rid of the idea of goals, or because goals are things you work really hard for, and then you're kind of depressed when it's over, and you would replace it with systems. And so one of his systems is, so, he produces quite a lot, and the system allows for failure and completion. So for example, he says he's kind of obsessed with going to the gym. He's like a gym nut. So he's like, basically he works all morning, and then at noon he goes to the gym, and he allows himself to not go to the gym. But first he has to put on all of his gym clothes. And if he still feels like he doesn't have to go into the gym, he actually has to get in the car and drive to the gym. And if he still feels like he doesn't want to go to the gym, he goes home. That's a system. And what's really interesting is, you get where I'm going with this? Like, he rarely skips the gym, even though maybe half the time he doesn't want to go to the gym. So you're going to come down, you're going to sit here, and then you're going to see, do I have the energy to think about these like this? And I know he's a weirdo. Look, I know the dude's a weirdo. I know he's got issues with women, and
Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought he'd been canceled, Leah.
I know he's been canceled, but his book is great. All right, let's see. Christina. All right, Christina, look at the shape. You're almost there. Look at the shape of this. Foreshortening means the things that are coming towards you are bigger. So spread this out a little bit more. See, look at yours. Looks like, here, I'll show you. Yours is like this, right? And really, there's just an extra little triangle. Lisa looks pretty good. Yours also, Lisa, has to come out a little farther.
Yeah, okay.
If you look at the width is the bottom here
Mm-hmm.
is as wide as the bottom of the apple. Otherwise, we look like we're in good shape. All right, so then we can start talking colors. I wanted this to be simple, so we could have a kind, we could play with, we could start working on color and get there much. You guys are doing great, by the way. All of these are classic, I want to say rookie mistakes. They're really common mistakes as you try to apply your old ways of thinking about things. And Lisa, you may want to pull back these lines a bit. I'm
Okay.
going to erase mine out because I think they're going to get in the way of your final product. You want to be able to see them, but not be able to see them so much. You know what I mean?
What's that sound?
Yeah, what is that?
Electric eraser. See? Electric eraser.
That's your eraser?
That's my eraser.
Oh my God.
I know, it's weird, isn't it?
It's
Very weird.
obnoxious.
Obnoxious, but it's a gift from God. I know it's really annoying.
Yeah, I didn't hear it earlier when you
Yeah.
were using it.
It's a little annoying, I admit.
Yeah, it sounded like a duck quacking or something,
Yeah. Aflac.
right?
God, talk about a brilliant marketing campaign based
Yeah.
on just complete absurdity. All right.
Leah, who was the other author we listened to, like a book on tape one week?
Oh, that was Stephen Pressfield, The War of Art.
Yes.
Yes, I love him. He's great. All right, we're almost there. When I see it, we'll keep going. We'll start going. Oh, I'm gonna clean up my palette while you guys are looking. That's it. I don't think I touched this thing in between. That's not entirely true. I do some sketching for bigger projects, but right now I'm in beast production mode. I have a big show opening in 3 weeks and I am 5 paintings short right now. So 2 weeks. And no shit, I have a big show opening in 10 days, 12 days. See, I'm in total denial. I'm like, I've got 3 weeks. No, you have 2 weeks.
Yes, Diana and I know how you feel.
Yeah, I know. We're
Although
on,
yours is a week before ours, I think, right? It's over 2
that's
weekends.
great. Now we're on the same timetable. We're actually also go on the 16th and the 17th. So we'll be at the end of our event when you guys are starting. I'm cleaning up my yellows here because it's easy for yellows to get kind of mucky. And I know we've got some yellow in here. It is totally obnoxious, though. You're absolutely right. Let's see. Hey, son.
Are you tired?
That's pretty good, Christina.
Yeah.
Much better. All right.
Are you drawing the folds in the blue?
No, don't even go there.
Okay, thank you. I was gonna.
Not there. Nope. We are not dealing with that. That's mostly black. It's just not worth it to go there. The blue is really there to offset the lighter colors next to it. Okay, so as we start, so remember, there's a couple of things to remember about watercolor. And one is that if we go too dark, so we want to preserve our light areas. So to me, that's like this area up here, the area up here, kind of, we're going to go to this area last. This is not the lightest area, and definitely this part of the slice, right? We're gonna address, we're gonna hit those areas up last, if we do them at all. So you can see I've kind of loosely marked them out. And then our key is to kind of build up darks. So we've got this kind of yellowy, interesting, yellowy greenish apple. So we're going to work with the shadows first, right down here, kind of down in here. And so here's yellow. I'm just grabbing yellow and mixing it together, not really thinking about which yellow. And what is the complement for yellow?
Red.
Nope.
No, it's
No, it's red and
purple.
green. Sorry.
purple or yellow.
Purple, purple. Thank you, Diana. So over here, I'm going to mix a little bit of quinacridone red and or crimson, whatever you got. Right? And some ultramarine blue till I get a kind of purple color. I'm keeping them, notice I'm keeping them in separate pans. And then I'm going to bring just a teeny touch over here. Into my yellow. Notice how a little bit goes a long, long way. So I'm adding more yellow to it to make sure it doesn't get in a touch more purple. So I'm not taking a whole glop of this. If you can see here, you can see that where my brush touched the purple, a very little bit. It's almost like just a corner. And then up here, I'm going to test it. I want a place for testing. Wait, you can't see that. So let me get a place for testing down here. I just got any old piece of paper here for testing. I want to make sure that although it's gray, it's still fairly yellow. Yep, I like that. Little bit of purple, little bit of yellow, and then I'm going to water it down fairly. I want this to be fairly light. So as I come in and I paint this in, do you notice how I'm kind of technically, I'm lightening it and I'm testing it before I put it on the paper? You know, it's not a, it's kind of a split piece seed color. It's not fantastic. I will admit it. There. And maybe, well, I'm going to stop it there. And where else do I see it? I see it a little bit in here. Over here. Yeah, that's it. Everything else is kind of darker. So you should be okay. And carry your blankie with you. So, you know, I'm getting these kind of pools. If you go too dark, right, you can wipe it off. If you go fast enough. It's kind of like a muted color. And then I'm gonna make my brush wet. I'm gonna do an even lighter version. Just a tiny little bit of the gray for up here. Because although this is also a shadowy area, it's less shadowed. So you can see right now, this is looking a little bit the same. We're going to make this darker on our next layer. This will become darker. So this is the patience you have to have. Also, I'm noticing that my yellow is mixing with my pencil lead. I'm getting a little bit grayer. That might be a problem that I can't overcome. We'll see. Diana, what are you working on?
My horse.
Want to send us a picture? Or do you want to just work right now?
I can send you a picture. It's not, I haven't really done much since last time, but I'll send you a picture.
Okay.
I'm still kind of sketching, but it's getting more horse-like. That's where I'm at.
Let's see. Oh, yeah, coming along nicely. I like your kind of slightly Naples yellowy background there. It's nice.
See what the customer says. That
Yeah.
one in black and
I
white.
know they wanted black and white, but you're slipping the color. You're being a good girl. You're slipping the color in.
Discreetly. What you doing, crazy dog? As it's just two colors, I don't waste any paint, so I can just do a little bit and
Right. You might mix a couple of different grays, Diana.
I will.
You
I
know what
will.
I mean? And then you can slip other colors in by mixing grays with the different complements.
Yeah, that's my plan.
Sly way. of
Yeah.
look-
So right now I'm just working with Payne's gray. So it gives a little bit blue tone. So
I
I'm
love that. I love Payne's gray. What a beautiful color. What a wonderful color.
so I might naturally be able to slip in some blue colors and
Yep.
yeah.
This is the challenge.
That's okay. But this is an order for 2 horses. So this is the first one, and they both gonna be this size.
Oh my God.
It's a big size, right? 16 by 20 or something, or
Oh, it's larger. It's 22 by 28.
22 by 28. Nice. That's a good size. Don't worry if you spend a lot of time mixing.
Yeah, mixing is hard to master. I'm
It is.
finding.
And that's why I'm teaching it, because, and that's why we're going through subjects like this, because this is really, I think, the best way to learn it. And I see other colors in here, like I see some oranges and a little bit of green, a little bit of red, which we will drift in the top layers, but I want to get our base in.
How does the yellow get dirtier than what you have?
You're mixing,
Too
what I
much
have
purple.
right now, you're mixing purple in with it.
That's the purple?
Yeah,
Okay, because I have a cleaner yellow. I need like a dirtier.
you need more, yeah, and you need a little bit more purple in with your yellow.
Yeah, kind of like that slab in the library yellow, sort of, you know.
Yep, yep, you just
Yeah.
need to get a little bit more. If it's looking too yellow, you need it to little bit, I think shadows are always grayer.
Yeah,
We're gonna
like
deal
the,
with this slice once we deal with this, because this slice seems to be a red slice. It's got red here and it's green, so we'll deal with this when we come up here. But we're
Yeah.
dealing with the yellow one first. So send me where you got it.
All right, I think I went too dark again, but I'll send it to you.
So Lisa, take a wet paper towel and blot it out. Do that now before you send it to me.
All right.
Did you pull off a little bit? Yeah, so Lisa, you remember to pull that, you need to, lighter is, go lighter, right? More water, more water. So on this next layer, go really light.
Okay.
Next layer is yellow. Right now, just yellow. So I'm actually gonna clean off my palette. It doesn't have any junk on it. And I want you to go really, really light.
All right. I need to switch out my water too, I think.
Switch out your water for sure. So this is just plain yellow. I'm using, I think it's a cab yellow light. I'm kind of mixing the yellows that I have. I'm adding a little gamboge or yellow ochre to see what that does. So the key with this is really super light. No, it's just plain yellow, right? But because I'm going to build these layers up and I'm going to add more colors in later. So I really want there, because you can see there's a kind of substantial difference
Bunny, bunny.
up here and what's down there. Now I'm kind of looking at the other things that are in here. All right. Let's see. I'm experimenting with the next layer. And you guys are getting in there and
What you up to, crazy dog? What you up to?
Yeah, so Paul, be careful not to go too dark.
Oops.
We're building up our darks. It's possible to go too dark on these first layers, so just be careful. You might have gone a little dark. It's okay, we're still learning.
When will that stop?
Right? Never, hopefully. Hopefully.
Well, it was nice to stop in for a little while.
Oh, you're leaving us already.
Well, in a couple of minutes,
Okay.
It's just
Yeah.
like right now I can still do things. Come next week, we have to go to print with our program book and stuff like that, so.
Right. So actually, that'll be better for you, right? Because by then it'll be
And there are other things, then there are other things.
right, right. But at least that will be done.
Yeah. And it's a different year.
It's a different year, girl. Yeah. Who the hell knows what is going to happen?
Right now, I'm negotiating with the hotel to let us lower our minimum. Because we don't want to have as full a house as usual.
Right,
And we're not going to get as full a house as usual either, so.
right. But also for the safety aspects.
Yeah.
Optics, I feel like it's really important for organizations to make sure they're demonstrating that they're aware of the guidelines and doing what they can to give people real options for safety. Like, people can tell when that's not happening.
Yeah, we are going overboard, so
Yeah, you should be going overboard. It's good.
we're going overboard. We're only accepting vaccinations.
Interesting.
Doesn't matter if anyone shows a negative COVID test, we're not accepting that.
Interesting. Are you getting pushback on that? Just out of curiosity.
Well, it was only 2 people that had asked so far that had asked for exception and that were happy with showing a COVID test, where I have refunded them today.
Oh, so so you think they might get pissed?
It is what it is.
I'm interested to see what kind of feedback you get from doing that. I think that's super bold, Diana. It's what I would do if I thought I could get away with it.
I think personally it would be fine with a negative COVID test within 48 hours, but
Yeah,
I'm not going to argue that.
yeah,
If it makes people feel safer, I'm fine.
right.
Yeah.
How's it going, everybody? You got your apple all covered? Now we're coming back and I'm
Oh, no, I don't have the apple all covered. Sorry. Let me do that.
trying to, I feel like there's a bit of brown in here. I've been playing with different things, brown, green, a little bit of burnt sienna.
Hey, Sunny, take it easy.
No, I know what the green is. The green is reflecting from here up there.
Easy. I got a few strokes in.
Yes, you did. You did good. You're Diana, the system is working. You can go. The system is in place. There's isn't that a great concept though? Like that idea that it's not about like where failure is built into it. So sure, you cannot go to the gym or sure you cannot paint, you have to show up to painting class. And then you have to take all your paints out and then you have to set them up. And if you really feel like you don't want to go, then you can like really not go.
So Christina, do you think you'll be able to help with the flowers?
I think so. I have to say, I'm getting like a really crazy last minute assignments, but I think I know the date, right? Like 16th October.
Yeah, we would do the flowers the day before. So like the evening of the 15th.
Okay, let me just check, just to be sure. If it's overnight, I should be available. But like last week, I pulled I worked till 3 a.m., 4 a.m., and then again, one time this week, 3 a.m.
Oh,
So,
I know you're in how's it going?
it's okay. On the one hand, we have a good amount of funding, like a lot.
Right,
That's good.
People on the staff.
right.
That's it. Everybody's doing double duty, triple duty.
Yeah,
Now you've got to let people know.
yeah.
Well,
We
thanks for,
we don't really have a staff either, so it's.
yeah, you know exactly what I mean.
Yeah, I do. I do, but at least I've done it so many times now, so
Right. Know
I
what to
have a
do.
roadmap for everything, so I don't get into panic mode.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just, but thankfully, I think they're realizing that it's not, it's impossible to expect one person to do these. So they've allowed me to hire a contractor and maybe
Oh, great.
staff.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, thank goodness. Yeah, so I just have to, now I have to get on, I've never done any contracting, so gonna learn that on the fly as I'm learning Photoshop on the fly, web design.
Good for you, Christina. You're a monster. I love it. You're in beast mode. Beast mode. And she comes to art class. That's
Yeah, sorry I missed
Yeah.
all of last week.
Yeah, feeling I kind of missed. I did appearances.
appearances. We expect appearances until it's over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
All right,
I gotta
Diana,
get now.
we'll see you later.
Bye.
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 All right. I want you to stop for a minute and watch as I start to layer in darker colors. So you can see that it really is a deeper, darker shadow down here. So now I think I'm working with yellow ochre or gamboge and a touch of burnt sienna, which I think is making kind of a really, I think I like that. Laying on top here. So you see how I'm getting darker? Instead of trying to get my dark on that first go, and then up here, I'm grabbing just a tiny little bit of green up here. Because up here, there's a little reflection of the green of the apple next to it, the apple slice next to it. And Then I'm gonna bring some of that color, a lighter version of that color, so a more watered down version of this color up to where the light, you know, to where the secondary dark is. So notice I'm kind of also tapping along the edge. So I want this to be darker. Dang it, I don't want blanky. I don't want all of this. I want it to get sort of gradually darker. I'm adding a little bit. It's annoying. Because I'm working on a slant, the water is dripping down and kind of lightening my dark. So I'm gonna go back in, more burnt sienna and a little bit of yellow ochre.
Sorry, how do you tame a red? My red's very, very red.
What's that?
How
do
do
I-
you tame a red? Neutralize it? What's the opposite color?
Green, why are you asking for red?
Oh, sorry, I just thought I'd start mixing the the other apple.
Go there, finish your first apple. Then we'll focus on the second one. Are you finished with your first apple?
Well, I was waiting for it to dry, so I thought maybe I'd start mixing.
I think you should start working on the second layer of your first apple.
Okay.
Don't get into your second apple, it'll confuse you. If that makes more sense. So now you can see we'll get there, I promise. We'll do that next. But I want you to do one more layer on your yellow apple before we get into that. You might be feeling frustrated with your yellow apple and wanting to move on. I totally get it. We'll get it. But green is what neutralizes red. So while you're doing that, I'm gonna actually move ahead. Start mixing colors. And you can see, I don't always know immediately. I guess what I want you to understand here is that I'm not always getting exactly what needs to be here either. Not usually on the first go. Yeah, there you go.
You point again to where you added the green bits.
Right up here.
Okay, thank you.
And then, yeah. So you see, I kind of kept this area a little bit lighter.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a nice bright red. Let's see what happens when we add a little green to it. That might be exactly what we're looking for. So yes, I have some suggestions about this. It's going to be green, but the way you put it in is going to be interesting. And remember, of course, that the darkest piece is really going to be this blue fabric. If you look at the values, the red apple's like a 4. The blue fabric's like a 5. And go ahead and send me your second layer of your green apples, and then I will start on the red, show you how to do the red. Let's see. Oh, great, he's coming along. All right.
Yeah. I was just about to say I don't like it at all, but okay.
Well, you know, we'll work on it. We're gonna do.
Okay.
what we can. Are you guys ready to talk about the reds, the red apples?
Yes.
So definitely, this is a cadmium red beginning, right? Not a quinacridone red, not a cool red, but a sort of bright red. So I've got this cadmium red. It's the red that's got a little orange in it, and over here I've got viridian green. So I'm laying my viridian green actually over here and pulling just a tiny bit in at a time to mix with my red. I want my red to still appear red, but I want it to be darker. So actually, there we go. Tiny bit. What I wanted to be careful of is that it didn't get too gray, the red, even in this dark area. So you'll notice a couple of times I've gone back in, pulled in viridian green, pulled in a little bit of red on top, tested it, and it's here, right? And then is where it's the darkest. And then I'm getting some water on my brush and kind of lightening it as it goes up. Lighter. And then over here as well. Oops. I find I keep having to go back in and adding more red after I've added green. That's what I'm really finding. I want my red to have a kind of pretty sheen. And notice I kind of came up the sides of both apple, and I'm probably going to come up keep just going in. I have this base of green and red, but I keep going in and adding more red to it. And I'm kind of stopping about here. Let's see if there's any place else I could put this red. Maybe here. 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 I'm sorry, I'm such a hard ass teacher, you guys. I'm like, no, don't do that now. No, 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 don't do it. Don't do it. Stop, stop. You can do whatever you want, by the way. You can say fuck off. You're allowed.
I never jump ahead. I'm usually behind.
Right. And then down here, there's also, it's also kind of red. It moves to green, but down here it is also a greeny red at the base.
Should I use crimson red or scarlet?
Ugh, neither of those. You don't have a cadmium red? You don't have a warm red?
No, I have rose.
Ugh.
I know.
And see what works the best.
All right, the scarlet looks better.
Try to get with it then. Sorry, I should be more encouraging. That's like,
Sorry.
ugh. Are you resisting buying more colors, Lisa, because you're not sure about watercolor?
No, I mean, I think I bought the set that you recommended.
Cadmium
But
red? is in
But
it?
I don't see a cadmium red
Strange.
unless I'm totally, it's sitting in front of me and I don't see it, which is possible. I kept telling you I didn't have yellow ochre, but I did.
Right.
But yeah, I'm looking on the back and
Huh, interesting.
it does not say cadmium red.
So your dark reds, just to repeat this, have gone kind of down here and up here. We're going to mix a kind of pretty orangey medium, like less a lighter color to get the sort of splashes in here, because this area is kind of the closest to the light. Close to the light. Hey, you know what book I just finally, I've never read it, but I finally listened to it. You guys, have you ever read Dune?
My my husband's reading it now because the movie's about to come out and he read it in high
What?
school.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
wanted
yeah,
to read it again, but it's funny because he never reads books. I'm sure you can hear me talking about him, but
Ha!
he's reading Dune right now.
It's really enjoyable. I got
Yeah,
it's like super, yeah, it's, I mean, you know, the thing with sci-fi is always that you have to learn the terminology, right? So there's terminology you need to learn and like all that, what is what,
right. Yeah,
blah, blah, blah. But like, we're, as far as world, it is really fucking great storytelling. Like,
right.
really
Then
wonderful.
I will steal it when he's done with it.
Yeah, steal it. I mean, I haven't had, I never have time to read. The only time I now have time to read is in bed, and that's about 3 minutes before I pass out. I'm reading a book on women artists throughout history who have painted themselves as part of their career as painters. It's fascinating book. Number one, I'm learning about all kinds of women artists who I didn't know about. And number two, yeah, like it's just interesting how, you know, women artists have had to kind of survive. But like that I last about maybe half an hour. I never can actually sit and read a book, but I can listen to books all day long.
Wow. Well, keep forgetting you're kind of like a sci-fi nerd when it comes to reading, right?
I love everything. I also love like Russian literature and yeah, but I do like a lot of sci-fi stuff. Some self-help, you know, some like art history, and I like listening to some sort of, if it's a well-written book, I'll listen to it.
All right, well, I will steal Doom when he's done with it because they just remade the movie. It's coming out in October.
Yeah, I heard. Who's in it?
Timothy Chalamet
Hmm.
and Zendaya.
I'm actually looking forward to it. So Zendaya must be, okay, great. Yep.
Ah, we were talking and I just colored part of my apple that was supposed to stay white. I'm gonna blame you, Leah, for distracting me. Yes, the reviews basically said if you like the book and are a fan of Frank Herbert, you will really like the movie. If you haven't read the book and don't know anything about it, that you might be a little confused.
Right. The Expanse was like that.
Um, I did not watch The
Sci-fi
Expanse.
novels that were made into a series of like, I don't know, 8 seasons of a TV show. And if you did not know, they definitely changed the TV show, but if you didn't know, the reading the books helped to. Yeah, I am a bit of a sci-fi nerd.
All right, well, you've intrigued me now with Dune. I wasn't gonna read it, but now I
You know, it's pretty wonderful writing. Frank Herbert was a good writer. I heard his son kind of took over the later editions and they aren't as good.
Yeah, because there's a ton of books in the series, right?
Right? Yeah.
And they've always had trouble. The original movie in the 80s was panned, and then I think there was a short TV series too that didn't really work.
I'm just to let you know, I'm kind of just testing a couple of things. Yeah. When you're ready, the lighter parts of the apple, I'm going to suggest you mix yellow ochre or gamboge and scarlet or cadmium red. And make sure there's a lot of yellow in there. So you can see, and I am like definitely kind of going around the area that's yellow. I'm gonna add that in later. But you can see these areas, I'm gonna maybe go darker with everything. That's why watercolor tends to look awkward longer. It's because like your darkest area is light and then you need to go back in. So right now I'm mixing more of the original red and green and dark, and I'm kind of coming back in here and trying to darken. Back here as well. So I'm darkening. Didn't go too dark. Sometimes you can put water on if you feel like you've gone too dark, you can actually put water on your brush and then pull off with your blankie here. As you can see me doing. I'm going to go in with just plain yellow here. In this little edge here. That's yellow. And up here. Then I'm going to brush the yellow in over the red in some places. Before I go back in and darken my red. There is, Christina, you're right. There is a point where you're like, I gotta leave this alone.
Yeah, plus also if it's not dry and you play with it, it makes those awful cauliflower things.
Yeah, it does. It does. You don't want that. I mean, it's still going to do a little bit of that anyway, but which is okay because that helps us create texture. But I get it. Yep. You kind of want to move on. So it's really like you can see it's kind of darker down here. And then, so what I did was it was sort of cadmium red and green for down here. And then up here, it was cadmium red and a bit of yellow ochre. So you can see it's slightly oranger. And I really preserved this yellow light space. I may bring some red in over the top eventually, but I really preserved that. And then, because I know as usual, I'm taking a really long time. to show you everything. And then here we've got like a green and a yellow with a tiny touch of red. So it's interesting. It's all the same colors, but different, you know, measures of mixing. So when you're mixing a red apple, right, you're mixing a tiny touch of green into the red. When you're mixing a green apple, like I'm doing here, you're mixing a little bit of red into your green. And I'm also putting a lot of yellow in my green to make it kind of green enough, kind of appley green. So you're kind of getting this practice of, which is why I believe I photographed this subject thusly, of the different ways and I think I remember thinking, is it really just yellow? I believe in a simple way, this is just kind of, don't get into my green. This is just yellow ochre on this side. It's yellow ochre on this side, and then maybe a very pale yellow on the other. As you go through this, don't worry, you can. For the moment, I'm just actually going to leave this side white. We'll deal with it later because I'd like to get in the background, which is easy. Blue and a little bit of brown.
There's brown in there?
It's dark. That's how you get a blue dark. If you just put blue down, I'll show you. This is blue and brown. This is just blue. See the difference? If you have to get it darker, you have to add a little bit of burn umber.
Okay.
See the difference here and there? Have that really rich dark color. I always add. You'll find, Christina, that my favorite dark is very often burnt umber and blue. This is almost black.
Yeah. It almost,
Look, it just fades. You can't get it dark enough.
it almost has a bluish tint to it, no? Purplish tint?
I mean, it's like, yeah, a touch. It's really ultramarine, which is the, I was actually using phthalo. Let me
I
see.
love mixing these colors. I happen to have a lot of colors.
So it's fun to mix them, isn't it?
It is.
This is ultramarine is a purple or blue, has more red in it, just by nature. So here, I will mix that in. I just added some more to my palette so I can use it.
I think I got it.
Ultramarine blue is what you want here.
Let's make it granulate quite a bit.
It's a beautiful color.
Okay, let's go.
And then notice as I'm painting kind of right up to the edge of these things. So I like to take my flat brush and pull back, right? Pull back so that I'm able to go around the object without drifting into it. So that is a good technique, a brush technique. Until you get, you know, you can really manage your brush around these edges. Whoops. I'll bring us something more colorful. I'd like to go back to citrus because I really just think citrus is really satisfying and colorful, bright. Yeah, to get your blues dark enough and bright enough, you always need a burnt umber. Oops. It's important to get it in so that you can kind of, you know, evaluate. Let's move this over here. This here. Is anybody kind of finding this soothing, even though it's a little hard? Good.
Yes, even though my colors seem completely off. And
Well,
I'm
we're
messing-
not using the same ones exactly.
True.
So you might, Lisa, I think you're at this point where you could try and look and see where my color is off. What can I add to it to help it? You know, get a little bit.
Yeah. No, but I'm getting more familiar with how to use
Yeah,
watercolor.
that's what this is all about, right? At the end of the day. That's really. So now I can come back in here. Maybe, okay, now I think I'm gonna clean my brush. Now I'm gonna kind of go back in and kind of darken colors in places where I feel like they need, you know, where they've lightened. So in here, I want this green kind of come back in. Wait, that's bright. Get a little red in there. There we go. Down here, I'm gonna mix red with green. Down here, red with green on top of this, on top of the edge.
Yeah.
I can also see that little bits of light, this green color are kind of are in the apple here. So I might try, let's see if I can get this right. A lot of green, but still a little bit of very light watery green kind of coming in. Over the top. I'm kind of skipping around the bright spots. It's yellower here. And I can see I need to get a little bit darker with my base. So go back in a little bit of, let's try a little bit of green. And although I have these dark, these medium and light areas on this light apple, I'm trying to make the edges between the dark and the medium and the light areas kind of soft. So do you see how I'm pulling, using this to pull up the darks? This is a soft edge. And I also can see that this could use a bit of orange on this side and get darker. This side has tiny bits of green with these kind of lovely little green threads. So now I'm kind of moving all over. It's just a very light wash on this side. And then I need some kind of color for the background. So here's my suggestion. My suggestion is pick whatever color you want and kind of wash it in lightly like this. Like I've got this funky lavender color. Is this what I want? Get a little red in there. Yeah. Like I've got this kind of light purple here. So I'm going to come in here, kind of lightly lay it in around the edges of my objects so that there's a feeling of like, I don't know, wall, but I'm not covering the whole space. Kind of just working around the edge of the object. It could be any color you want. It doesn't have to be purple. I've just been looking at this color all night and kind of thinking about it. And I'm going over with bright cadmium red and kind of trying to bring some of that into also going over and kind of darkening my. So I'm kind of just going over the edges and darkening things up a little bit. Oops. I always think something is going to be easy. Then it takes a long time. We did take a while to get started though, so we'll go a few minutes longer. now I'm taking a little bit of yellow and green and kind of scraping it over the red in a few places up here. Do I like that? I don't know if it adds anything. I also got white, and I might here kind of coat my thing with white and try to add a little bit of a, the Russians call this a blick.
What is a blick?
It's the little white spot,
Oh,
which I just think is a great name for something. I think it describes it, the little white reflective spot. Might be able to get that in with wet watercolor white or even white wash. I don't think I have any white wash. I'm gonna have to get more wash. But if you have wet white, yeah, no, my wash is finished.
shit.
And I also slightly leaned on this. Got blue there. That's very good. That's- That's kind of working. I can also see there's a couple of places where I'd like to reshape my angle. Like I want to cut it in a little bit here, so I'm just going over. Look at how you can use your background. If the color's darker, kind of go in and reshape. Oh yeah, that looks better. Kind of lost that shape a little bit. There we go.
think I'm done.
Let's see.
But the shadow on the yellow apple is not good.
That's okay. That's just, you know, mixing light shadows is hard. So let's see what you got. Let's see what you did.
Plus my kids are calling me to dinner.
All right.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, wrong one.
Wrong thread.
Yeah. Both photos.
All right. So Christina, I know you have a busy week, but if you can break away and join us for a class at 3 o'clock on Friday, your time, you will love it. Drawing class, it's pretty great. Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, that looks lovely, honey.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, lighter than what we did. Get a little bit darker.
Oh, yeah, it looks great.
Looks really good. Also, we want to get darker in here, but these things are all things you can do with by darkening your by adding in darks. You can get like gradually darker. I mean, this is dark down here. You can barely see. Look, you can barely see.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So it really does need to get dark, but I like how this looks up at the top. And you've done something that allows you to add your darks in. So, all right.
All right, I'll send you mine. It's a huge
I'll send
mess,
mine.
but I'll send it to you. The colors are off. It's
Okay,
just
guys.
not good.
You just need to keep going.
Yeah.
You can layer more colors in.
Okay.
You need to go darker.
Now I need to go darker, huh?
Well, yeah, right? Because these are all darker. This is like here, down here is lighter than up here.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
and your red apple needs to get darker, right? The apple is darker.
All right.
You can just keep getting darker. It's actually not as bad as you think. Paul, let's see yours.
Okay, hold on. Okay,
Try-
here we go.
A little bit of just red and green, you know, try just going over with a little bit of red over the top of it, at least. Let's see.
I love my brush.
Yeah, Paul, you need to go darker too. So just go darker.
Okay.
Go darker. Everybody should go a little bit darker. You too, Christina, but take a break, have dinner, and then go take a look at it again. All right. Nice work, everybody. We'll keep going on this one. We'll keep going. I'll see you next week, and hopefully I'll see a couple of you on Friday for drawing at 3 o'clock.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Leila.
Yeah. Great work today, everybody.
Good to see everyone.
Yeah. As always, great work, guys.
Bye.
Bye.